Hey friends, the room that I was going to record in is absolutely messy. So I'm stood here in front of my chest of drawers and I'm going to apologise for what I said in the vlog last week, the last weekly vlog. So just forget what I said there. I mean, it's quite interesting and most of that information has now been dumped, thankfully. So that information you can't go back and but anyway, this information will make sense, and obviously I'll note it down properly, so you've got an actual, you've got a proper representation of it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the actual how much it would cost for each social media ad, and then each social media platform, and then at the end I'm going to talk packages. So if you want to hear the packages, please fast forward to the very end of the video where we'll be talking prices. But first and foremost, I'm going to talk about social media platforms and how much it costs for each one. We're going to start off with Facebook. Now, Facebook, I started talking 20 grand, but in actual fact, Facebook is now a £400 deal, or if you're in the States, it's a £200 deal. So $200. So that's usually within the States. It's $100 up to $200 in the States. And yes, we are covering work within America to a certain boundary, because we want to keep certain levels of audience, especially the video game company. But anyway, so for that, it's up to £200 to £400. So that's or 200 to $100 to $200. So that's Facebook. Now Instagram is slightly cheaper with £80-90. We are charging extra for Reels, but I'll talk about that in a second. So keeping to mind that the Instagram Reels and Instagram Stories are mainly they're mainly up to £90 to £100. Now that doesn't cover everything, but again, we'll cover that towards the end of the video. Next up is TikTok, which is cheaper still. TikTok is £80 to £30. Now, I know in America, they usually go up to $700 but I had it thoroughly worked. I had it on a piece of paper somewhere, but I can't find the piece of paper, so you'll have to forgive me at this point. So obviously, during the last video, I said, TikTok being the most expensive, which it was 3 or 4 years ago. But now TikTok's come down a price. And that's basically where everything's going to be the cheapest. Now, I said newspapers and magazines, radio ads, they're usually cheap. Well, newspapers are, again, you're talking up to £300, £400. Now, I wasn't going to cover newspapers in this, but I thought I might as well cover my back here and say newspapers up to £300 or £400. I was slightly lubricated when I spoke about this in the beginning, so I'm not slightly lubricated now. I've only had a cappuccino, so there you have it. And also, we're now going to start doing course videos for websites, YouTube, Facebook, all the rest of that. So that's all your free information. But you can buy our course videos. But especially we do extras and stuff like that. And they range up to in England, or should I say in the UK, they range up to £14-15. In America, it's a little dearer, but it's nothing more. It's 20-30 US dollars. Now we come to podcasting. I want to come to this cover this very quickly. I don't really class podcasting as social media, but I know people do. So, podcasting, advertise on podcasts up to £50. But you've got to take into account how long it takes to record the audio, the script and everything else. If you want us to write scripts for you and all the rest of it, then you might be interested in one of our package deals, which I'm going to talk about right this second. Oh, I forgot to mention Pinterest. Just a minute. Pinterest is $30 to $40 in America. Over here, I think it's about £20 to £30. So, but you've got to be careful with Pinterest, because if it's a big ad on Pinterest and it's got this link and that link and the other link, it could be exceedingly higher. Yeah, so I've got to correct myself, because if I'm going to be a good businessman, I've got to correct myself right here. Should have put a shirt on. I'm not doing this. Oh, anyway. So where was I? Right, package deals. Now, I'm going to talk about emails to start off with. Now, emails, nothing to do with social media in my eyes. Emails are a totally different breed of thing altogether. But social media uses email, and a lot of people don't use emails these days. It's like snail mail. But emails are great for marketing campaigns. They're great, email marketing and all the rest of it. To advertise in an email, to do like a paperclip or to do a whole email spread on an ad, you're looking at about £300 to £400. Now, that's just on the ad alone. That's just us to do you an ad. For an email listing, if you want us to manage your email list and all the rest of it, and get leads and call to action, that's £200. £200 to £300. If you want us to do a mailing list and manage the mailing list, it's another £400-500. So you're looking at £900 to £1,000. Right? Now, speaking on Facebook leads to the email listing. So you could do is you could buy the email package separate to your Facebook package. So when you advertise on Facebook, or when we advertise for you on Facebook, and we get all the email listing, you can either pay the surcharge, which would be 15. That would reckon at 1,500. Sorry, I've not done the maths properly. That would reckon up to £1,600, £1,700. That would then lead on to, and obviously if you wanted video ads on top, if you want everything else, if you wanted Facebook Reels, if you wanted DM links, all the rest of that, that would literally then cost up to £1,700-1,800. Or £2,300. And this is per year, by the way. This isn't everything on top. But you might want to pay, say, pay your £2,500, maybe your £30 on top. And that's not a tip, by the way. If you start tipping me and say, "Oh, I've tipped you," and we've made this mistake in the past. "Oh, I've tipped you, so that's going to cover me." No, it's not. I'm just going to say to you guys, it's not at all. Anybody thinking, "Oh, do you know what? In the biz, we've paid him this much, we've tipped him there, so that means that's fine. It's not going to cover you at all, not one iota. So don't get it out your head. Don't think that at all, because it's not going to. Anyway, so to add, when you get the emails, when we get the sales, the surcharge pays onto that. But if you've bought the email package and the Facebook package, we can knock off the email package. So then we'd only be charging for the Facebook stuff only. And a good thing with Facebook is you get a good email. Well, we'd get a good email listing off the back end. So it works good for us on the back end. We'd make more money, even though Facebook's dead in the water to a lot of people. If you look at what Facebook actually does, and if you look at the ad leads to that, then, by the way, this is all pretend and play. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. It says it on the video, but this is all educational, so this is what I'd be charging when we move into the new place. I want to talk about the billboard ads that I want to, the newspaper and the radio and the podcasting. There's a package for you which covers all of that, which I'll discuss towards the end, because this is mainly just to be focused on social media. So TikTok. Let's talk about TikTok now. TikTok could work out expensive because we're doing TikTok Shop now. TikTok Shop's fantastic because you can sell ads on there. You can also sell the sales side. So you can be on both sides of the counter with that, and it's fantastic. You can be on the shopkeeper side, and you can also be on the customer side. Now, the problem with that is, if you're doing sales or sales revenue, we would then take the surcharge off that. So that's where it works expensive. Plus the production. You're looking at video production, time, scripting, all the rest of that. That's where it works with TikTok. Now, Instagram's a hard one, because Instagram, what we've been doing is 6-part reels, which we take an ad, we do one part, then we do another part, then we do another part, and we do another part, and we do another part. Basically, that's how it does it. And we charge for each of those parts. We charge for the production it takes to do the reel. For example, if you want animation, there's a surcharge on the animation, because the time, you're paying for the time, the design time, or the time it takes to do the animation, and it's costly. So if you want an Instagram reel that's like 4 second, excuse me, folks, I had a bit of a itch there on my nostril. What the hell's going on there? So basically, if you have a reel, say you want a 3-second reel, and it's animator. Now, what they don't understand is, yes, a reel is very short. It's a very short video, like a TikTok video. But if it's animated, then that's the cost of the animator's time. What may look 2 or 3 seconds to you will have taken an animator 3 or 4 hours or longer. And so that's why we're going to have animators on standby saying, could you animate this? Could you do that? Can you do that? It's like 14 frames per second or 15 or 35 frames per second. And because of that, we're putting a surcharge on frame per second. But I'll do a separate video on that, because it gets a little complicated and I haven't worked out the full-blown thing for that. So getting back to Instagram, the reels costing £400-600, or £600-800, with a £9 on top. Hope this is all making sense to you, because yeah, and you don't make, the thing is with these things, like, say for instance, for example, Facebook's got the back end of that is the email listings, which is great, because then you you make a huge sales pitch. Huge sales pitch. This is what I've learned. This is what I got from my research. So I'm making a price listing on my research. And then you have production costs if it's video or photo or whatever. If you're having to go on shoots, so then again you're paying for shoots, you're paying for video, you're paying for photo, you're paying for all the rest of it. You're not paying for cameras, you're not paying for lenses, you're not paying for all the rest of it. We cover all that. But what you're paying for is the time it takes to do it, where it takes to do it. And, there's production costs as well. Photo shoots can be a little pricey, same with like video shoots. If you want that huge like film production thing, which we're looking at doing, then it can be costly. Not to the cameras or anything that you use. It's more to do with the production side of things. How long it takes to edit, how long it takes to film, where to get the actors, the locations, and then the legal side and all that costs. So for us, it could be a hefty production cost, which we've paid a lot of production costs already. But that's just to give you a rough idea for those who've got a pencil and paper in front of them and they're taking note. And plus there's the rates to pay as well, because we're getting higher rates to pay. Thanks to my good man, Jamie Vondy. I know you're watching this. And so there you go. And also a guy called Alan Vince, who's big in the biz. He's getting us so many people I could name and reel off. And obviously they're going to make sure that everything's met and everything when it comes to rent and rates and all the rest of it. But that's what you've got to meet when it comes to the whole thing. So, there's the virtual shake of the hand right there. So anyway, where were we? So getting to, I've not even covered the important bits yet. Oh no, I have. I've covered. So, crumbs. Where are we? So, I've covered Facebook. I've covered Instagram, and I've covered TikTok. Pinterest is a totally different thing. 'Cause it's pins, and people sort of find what's interesting to them or Pinteresting to them, and they click on it. So you make a sales pitch on clicks, and that's where you get your clicks or whatever. So that's. I'm sorry this video is sounding so seriously. I've put my my training person's voice on today. So I've put my training person's voice on because I feel that when you're training people or I've trained a room of people before now today, like real people, when I was doing a mobility day thing, and you have to make sure that you're clear. You have to make sure that this is clear. If it's not clear and people aren't getting it, then you have to do a whole series of videos. So I'm hoping that I'm not having to do a whole series of videos. I remember my tutor sitting me down saying, I'm going to explain this once, and I hope you get it because I'm not explaining it again. So there you go. So I've not come to the podcasting and the newspaper deal package thing. Now, the newspaper and billboard, there's a package there that comes like newspapers, magazines, and billboards. It doesn't cover TV and radio, because TV and radio are totally separate, and I want to do a separate video on that so I don't mash people's heads with information. I don't want people going in the comments, you mentioned this and you mentioned that, and this makes no sense and that makes no sense. So basically that's why. But I want to talk about this because package deals are, I want to make it clear that I'm not overcharging. Well, I am, but I want to make it sure that I'm not overcharging. And this is a get rich quick thing, because to get rich quick, I would have said, well, do you know what? You could have pocketed that and that, we know, whatever, But we're not talking about getting big here. We're talking about deals. And I've sat you guys down, haven't I, and explained this well. Hopefully I have. Explaining, ask me in the comments, and hey, if we get any keyboard warriors, we'll have to get someone to explain to them as well. I should turn comments off, really, shouldn't I? And get people to message me. I won't, but I think for future educational content, I think I will look at doing that because, anyway, where was I? But there is Google Ads as well. I forgot to mention the Google Ads thing that we're doing, where you pay per ad. You pay for how big the ad is. You pay for how many words you're using. Your 200 word ad. You pay $500 or £500 or whatever, or €1,300 or whatever, and then for more words, you pay more money. Sorry, there is no one behind me. I don't know why I looked off the camera there. Then you pay for all of that, basically. So now let's talk about newspapers and podcasting, because that's a different thing, isn't it? That, newspapers, it's not like TV and radio, which comes under a different thing, which TV and radio would be roughly £94. £94. So, it's usually up to 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, whatever. That's basically what you're looking at. You're looking at, you wanted me to say a round figure. You wanted me to say 1,000, you wanted me to say 2,000, you wanted me to say 1,300, you wanted me to say that. But I'm not saying that because it's not, you can't round off anything for TV or radio. And I'm not arguing with people that say they can, because I've looked into TV and radio. TV and radio, you round off. And the problem is, we're charging more because we don't use AI voices. We use our own voices, or we get people to do it. We get people to record it. We get musicians in to record the stuff because, and that's another thing. By next year, this is a little secret, by the way, so for those, by next year, we're doing a royalty-free music package. And it's not just your crappy background, it's not like your crappy music shit that we're doing. We're doing proper royalty-free music. If you want metal, we're doing metal. If you want jazz, we're doing jazz. You want EDM, we're doing EDM, and you're going to buy the rights to use that music for whatever. If you want to use it for your podcast, you can use it for your podcast. Want to use it for YouTube, use it for YouTube. The only thing you have to do is credit the artist every time you use that piece of music, because that's that person's time, that's that person's studio time as well, and the money, and everything else. And when you buy the royalty-free music package, you can use it forever. The only thing you're not allowed to do is to sell it on, because you get into a bit of a messy problem. But if you want to use it for your own YouTube thing or your own podcast or whatever, it even covers pirate radio, internet radio, yeah. But obviously, if you wanted to sell it to Joe Blogs up the road, you can't, because they haven't paid us the rights to use that music. And obviously, it's also we're going to be going into a studio and the studio we're going to use for it is a charitable studio, and they're very good with us, and we'd literally be taking the piss. So it's going to be a real thing that we're doing. It's the only real thing we're doing as an imaginary company, is selling royalty-free music, because we want royalty-free music as well. And there's a lot of royalty-free music packages out there where you have to, it's like Spotify, where you have to pay in for monthly. For this, you actually buy CDs. Again, now the CDs are outdated, but it's a physical medium. Now the CD is also the license. So when you buy a CD, you're buying a license or a pen drive. People want pen drives, and it'll be licensed. There will be a license number on the pen drive, which we ask users not to delete in case there's an issue. So, there's all that happening. And it's going to happen next year, next March, that we're doing. But another thing that we're going to be doing is a jingle package, because a lot of people want jingles, and we're going to say about a, £20-30 for jingles. It's not really, you don't want to be charging through the roof for jingles, to be honest with you, because people want jingles and jingle jangle jury. And as you see what I did there. And so people want jingles all year round. And so basically, you're looking at jingles for certain things, or jingles for certain parts of the year. Right, I'm going to finish on talking about the podcasting and the newspapers, which will come to about £1,300 at a given, maybe 1,600. And if you want us to advertise on your podcast, or if you want a script for the podcast, then it's about £50-60. You're looking at that. But if you want us to do on your podcast, and bear in mind, it's no AI voices, it's no artificial intelligence going in there. It's a real voice at the end of it. Because this day and age, isn't it nice to hear a real voice on an ad? A real bit of personality. It's not what you don't hear that with AI. It's like there's nothing there. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a machine, and AI is fantastic, and it's great, and it does great things. We know the bad stuff that happens with AI, but, the AI does some great things, and it generates great things. But I often think it would be so much far better, because there's thousands and billions of companies out there doing AI. We don't need to do it as well. So it'd be nice for us to go in a studio and do a proper radio ad, podcast ad, for you. And there you go. And that sums it up. I really hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to ring the bell, subscribe, hit that button down there. Hit the like button down the other side. Don't have to do it. It's not compulsory. I'm not getting paid for doing it. And we can have a chat in the comments as well. If if you want to teach me something as well. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I wanted to make this video because in the vlog I mentioned all kinds of stupid prices, which obviously when I researched it, I thought, I best correct myself here. So lesson over, class dismissed, and I'll see you in the next one.